and People's Bank, other sponsors, Qatar National Bank and Northern Modern Irrigation. We are truly grateful for their invaluable contribution and proud to have their partnership in this meaningful occasion.
चरणं श्री गणेश चरणं गजानन श्री गणेश चरणं गजानन श्री गणेश चरणं गजानन देव मुनिव पणियुं गजानन देव मुनिवर पणियुं दयागरा श्री गणेश चरणं நாகாபரணனே நான் மறை போற்றும் நாகாபரணனே நான் மறை போற்றும் நாகாபரணனே நான் மறை போற்றும் நாகாபரணனே நான் மறை போற்றும் ராமன பிரணவ ரூபனே ஜய ஜய ஸ்ரீ கணேஷா சரணம் நாகாபரணனே நான்மறை போற்றும் நாமன பிரணவ ரூபனே ஜய 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 ஸ்ரீ கணேஷா சரணம் கஜானன தேவ முனிவர் பணியும் தயாகர ஸ்ரீ கணேஷ சரணம் சரணம் முதல எழுத்தெல்லாமாதி பகவன் முதற்க உலக எழுத்தெல்லாமாதி பகவன் முதற்க உலக முதல பகவன் மோதகே ஓலக முதல எழுத்தெல்லாமாதி பகவன் மோதகே ஓலக முதர எழுத்தெல்லாமாதி பகவன் மோதகே ஓலக அகர முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர முத எழுத்தெல்லாம் முதற்கே உலக அகர முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர் முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர் முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே அகர முதர் எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்கே உலக அகர முதர எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் பகவன் முதற்கே உலக ஆடும் பதனை ஆடும் பதனை ஆடும் பதனை ஆடும் பதனை ஆடும் பதனை ஆடும் பதனை நாடிய முனிவர்கள் கண்ணீதிட நானிலம் சீரபுர தில்லையம்பல எல்லாடும் பதனே நாடிய முனிவர்கள் கண்டு களித்திட நானிலம் சிறபுற தில்லையம்பல எல்லாடும் பதனே முனிவர்கள் கண்டு களித்திட நாடிய முனிவர்கள் கண்டு களித்திட நாடிய முனிவர்கள் கண்டு களித்திட நாடிய முனிவர்கள் கண்டு களித்திட நானிலம் சிறப்புறத்தில் அம்பலத்தில் ஆடும் பதனே அனுதினம் இணைந்திடு அல்லல்லடேகுமோ தேவர்கள் கொண்டாடும் பதனே அனுதினம் நினைந்திடு அல்லல்லடேகுமோ தேவர்கள் கொண்டாடும் பதனே கங்கையுடன் மதிசடையுடையன் கண்டவேடமுடையன் கண்மோட்டுடையன் கங்கையுடன் மதிசடையுடையன் கண்டவேடமுடையன் கண்மோட்டுடையன் அங்கையில் அனலோடு மாமடு உடையன் பங்குரு மரகத துடிடையுடையன் அங்கையில் அனலோடு மாமடு உடையன் பங்குரு மரகத துடிடையுடையன் ஏறுவிடையுடையன் மொழி தொழிலுடையன் பாரில் பக்தர் கருள் பாலிதில்லை ஏறுவிடையுடையன் மொழி தொழிலுடையன் பாரில் பக்தர் கருள் பாலிதில்லை ஆடும் பதனே அனுதினம் நினைந்திடு சடையுடையன் கண்ட விடமுடையன் கண்ணுடையன் அங்கையிலனலோடு மாமடு உடையன் பங்குரு மரகத துடிடையுடையன் ஏறுவிடையுடையன் புலி தொழிலிடையன் பாரில் பக்தர் கருள் பாலிதில்லை ஆடும் பதனே அனுதினம் நினைந்திடுகள் அணுகுமோ தேவர்கள் கொண்டாடும் பதனே அனுதினம் நினைந்திடுகள் அணுகுமோ தேவர்கள் கொண்டாடும் பதனே
Thank you very much for your mind-blowing performance. At this moment, we proudly recognize the generous sponsors who have made At this moment, we proudly recognize the generous sponsors who have made ICDA 2025 possible through their unwavering support. Our platinum sponsor, Jacob Presida, University of Jaffna. Gold sponsor, CIC Agribusiness Private Limited. Bronze sponsors, Avon Pharma Chem Private Limited, Hemsense International Private Limited, Chrysalis and People's Bank. Other sponsors, Hatton National Bank, Northern Modern Irrigation and ESP Nagaratnam. We extend our sincere thanks to each of them for their invaluable support and partnership.
Thank you for the group from Ramanathan, faculty of Ramanathan. Once again, Natuvangam, Tirumadi Bhavitra Vasandarupa, Thiru Murugaya Dusyandan, Mirdangam, Thiru Kanabadi Pillai Kajan, Violin, Thiru Rajaratnam Nirojan, Pangupettiya Manavargal, Nimal Ranjit Perero Madusam, Madanakumar Komila, Patmadas Dharmika, Shivakumar Kasturi, Tangaraja Dharmini, and Puranachandran Tavalojini.
At this moment, we proudly recognize the generous sponsors who have made ICDA 2025 possible through their unwavering support. Our platinum sponsor, Jacob Presida, University of Jaffna. Gold sponsor, CIC Agribusiness Private Limited. Brown sponsors, Avon Pharma Chem Private Limited, Hemsense International Private Limited, Chrysalis and People's Bank. Other sponsors, Hatton National Bank, Northern Modern Irrigation and ESP Nagaratnam. We extend our sincere thanks to each of them for their invaluable support and partnership.
With that, I would like to invite the following dignitaries to take their seats at the head table and grace us with their esteemed presence. Chief guest, Professor S. Sri Satmur Raja, Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna. Professor K. Bahirathan, Conference Chair and Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Jaffna. Dr. M. Kularatna, Plenary Speaker, Lincoln University, New Zealand. Dr. Y. Sasaki, Keynote Speaker, Long-Term Expert, Jaika Prasida, Yamakata University, Japan. Mrs. K. Nishandan, Convener, ICDA 2025. Dr. N. Tirichelvan, Financier, ICDA 2025. And Dr. S. Tatchaneskanth, Joint Secretary of ICDA 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, as our distinguished guests now join at the head table on stage, we are delighted to formally begin the inaugural ceremony of ICDA 2025, a one-day hybrid research conference hosted in this vibrant and intellectually rich forum.
While we warmly welcome all of you to this significant occasion, it is now time to hear from a very special lady who will officially extend a warm welcome on behalf of the organizing committee. It's my privilege to welcome the convener of this conference, Mrs. K. Nishandan, to deliver the welcome address. Madam, it's over to you.
So, very good morning and warm welcome to each and every one of you. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. Faculty of Agriculture, University of Jaffna, RVL Nagar, Kalnechi, at 11th International Conference on Rice on Agriculture, ICDA 2025. We are elated to have you all join us for this important day. First of all, I wish to say a few words about ICDA, which is an annual conference organized by our faculty, and I also wish to introduce the theme of this conference. The annual conference of ICDA, conducted by Faculty of Agriculture, holds a significant importance not only for the faculties, but also academics and the broader community of agriculture. It serves as a platform for knowledge exchange, networking, and showcasing research advancement. This event fosters collaboration among academies, researchers, and the industrial professionals, ultimately contribute the advancement of sustainable agriculture practices and innovation. The theme of ICDA 2025 is multidisciplinary approach for regenerating agriculture. The theme is selected with the intention of regeneration and rebuilding of agriculture resources, soil, water, and energy as a necessity for the sustainable agriculture. This theme aligns well international impetus improving the ecosystem functioning and will pave a way to forward, provide a platform for discussion about the impact of challenges on agriculture resources over time and mechanism to monitor and mitigate them. With this small introduction of this conference, I wish to propose the welcome our guest. First and foremost, I honor to welcome our Extreme Vice Chancellor, Professor S. Sri Satkunaraja, on behalf of the organizing committee who have honored us by being our chief guest today. We are deeply privileged to have you with us today. I extend my warm and sincere welcome to this plenary speaker, Dr. Manjula Gularatne, Lincoln University, New Zealand, the keynote speaker, Dr. Y. Sasaki from Yamakata University of Jaffna, and the invited speaker, Dr. Kemal Suravira with University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. We are elated to able to listen your informative presentations. I also like to convey the sincere welcome to the Deans of Faculties, JICA Senior Representative, JICA Expert, and JICA team, Provisional Directors, Deputy Directors of various institutions, invitees, academics, Chairperson of the session, Registrar, Librarian of University of Jaffna, Deputy Registrar Kilnachi, academic supportive staff, and students to the conference. We are delighted to your presence here. I also extend my heartfelt welcome to our presenters and participants who are traveled from far and near to hear us today. A special word to welcome to sponsors and partners. Your generous support made this event a reality. We also delight to hear so many of you here today with a special event. We encourage you to actively participate in the discussion, networking with fellow members, and make most of this valuable opportunity. We believe that sharing our experience and insights, we are collectively being a positive change towards the sustainable agriculture. Once again, I am welcome you all and thank you for joining us. We hope you have a productive and enjoyable conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Now I request Professor K. Bahiradan, Conference Chair and Dean Faculty of Agriculture, University of Jaffna, to deliver his address.
The very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So decorated the ICDA 2025. Our chief guest and the General Chair, Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolundu Sri Sheknaraja. Our plenary speaker, Dr. Manjula Kularatna. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Yuku Sasaki from Jakarta University and the long-term expert of the JICA Presida project. And former competent authority, the deans of the faculties, respected council members, and senior representative of JICA Sri Lanka office and his team, and professors, heads of departments, so directors and deputy directors, the lecturers and administrative, academic and academic supporting staff, and my dear students. Indeed, it's truly an honor and a great pleasure to meet you at the 11th International Conference on Dry Zone Agriculture 2025. It is being organized under the theme of the multidisciplinary approaches for regenerative agriculture. The ladies and gentlemen, we all are human beings. You know that now we are facing a lot of environmental dilemma. And you all know that there are two research findings, the best research findings we were celebrating 50 years ago from the discovery of the plastics and discovery of pesticides. You know that these celebrated inventions, now it's being the hated invention by the public because of injudicious use of these two innovations that has created the mesh up the older environment and heteroscopic hazard to the health human beings. And you know that the farming communities are forced to produce the food for ever increasing population. It is expected to reach 50 billion in 2030. how the farming communities can produce expected yield with a limited amount of land without incorporation of these inventions, because you all know that the precious resources are very limited. Our innovations have created these environmental pollutions. So particularly in the dry zone agriculture, you all know that, and Sri Lanka, you all know that. There are two experiences. One is the COVID-19 pandemic. It emphasized what's the importance of the growing of the trees because of the oxygen. Without oxygen, you will not survive. The second, the economic problems is told us how the government of Sri Lanka has to plan its in agriculture to self-sufficient food productions. So therefore, the continuous findings related to the region is very, very important to uplift the economic potential and the food production of this country. That's what our mission and vision of this University of Jaffna and Faculty of Agriculture. We forecasted that in 2015, we wanted to incept a conference related to the dry zone agriculture. These findings will help to the regional development of the farming communities. At the time, the JICA Japan Corporation helped us to establish a well-equipped research and training complex in this faculty. So therefore, the academics and the students from these faculties can help the regional research development of this farming communities needed. In this, aligned with this research and complex establishment, our research capacity increased. So time to time, then consecutively, we are organizing, even in the Corona-19 lockdown, we organized this conference. Why is that? Because the food production is very, very important. Now in the 11th series of this conference, with this establishment of the research and training complex, JICA Sri Lanka thought that, okay, so through the PRESIDA projects, we have to improve the capacity of their academics as well as the regional farming communities through the dissemination of the knowledge of this outreach. That's how we are witnessing these research findings conducted all over the Sri Lanka and all over the world related to the dry zone agriculture. This conference is a testament of dissemination of these findings, and also you have to think in different way. You know that regenerative agriculture, it is very important. You know that in artificial intelligence era, the youngsters are moving towards an AI technology. So the boost of deep learning, agriculture-related computer vision technologies, we have to bridge these technologies to the regional agricultural development. Then only the farmers can use the resources very efficiently. That's how this year theme we have planned the regenerative agriculture, because we are shouldering the task to safeguard the environment, soil, and water, and food production, marketing, value addition, and all the things we have to cover by the 6th department of the Faculty of Agriculture in 7 disciplines. I hope that you all are witnessing today. So our keynote speakers, our presenters, so they will share their ideas and their findings. These findings will help to our research students to further collaboration of this, or initiating that networking for that postgraduate programs, as well as from the weaknesses of the research findings, so they can plan for the next level of research, what they have to do to fill the gaps. I hope that this is a good opportunity to why these international conferences is unique for the Faculty of Agriculture, and we are being organizing as a 11th series. For past decades we have organizing. This Faculty of Agriculture as a leading entities in these northern provinces, we are collaboratively working with the agriculture, animal husbandry and fisheries sector people. So their needs also we are taking as researchers. So our academics are working to find the solutions for the needs of the farmers. That's of this theme I hope that is best matches with this current needs of that country's development. And organizing of the international conference is not a simple task. Many brain, many hands work together towards the achieving of a goal. That's how our academic staff members, administrative staff members, non-academic staff members and the students work with these international experts to organize this conference. You all know that our administration is very supportive to organize particularly Vice Chancellor and Bursar and Register and the DR Clinical Premises and Engineering divisions to organize this, their contribution in various capacities success of this conference. With this, I would conclude my sessions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all.
Thank you, sir, for your invaluable thought. Ladies and gentlemen, the next awaited item on our agenda is the official release of the proceedings of 11th International Conference on Rice Zone Agriculture 2025. Let us all witness the symbolic launch which represents the collective effort, knowledge and contribution of researchers from around the globe.
To officially launch the proceedings, we kindly invite Professor K. Bahirathan, Conference Chair of ICDA 2025, to officially issue the conference proceedings to our chief guest. Thank you, sir. We kindly request our chief guest to stay on the stage to issue the proceedings to the following invitees. We kindly request Dr. M. Kularatna, our esteemed plenary speaker, to receive the proceedings from our chief guest. Followed by Dr. Y. Sasaki, keynote speaker.
So now I call upon Mr. Noguchi, Senior Representative JICA. Japan. JICA, yeah. And former competent authority, Professor S. Kantaswamy. Dean Faculty of Graduate Studies, Senior Professor Bel Nambi. Council Member Emeritus Professor Sivayoganathan. So Dr. Alfred. Dean Management and Commercial Studies, Professor in Gangadharan. Dean Faculty of Engineering, Engineer Kaneshwaran, Dr. K. Deeswaran, Dean Faculty of Technology. our Chief Advisor, JICA Presider, Dr. Mistinaka. Dr. S. Kirijakal, Deputy Director. Is coming. Okay. Miss Sukita from JICA Sri Lanka office. Register Mr. V. Kantipan. Mrs. N. Bamitra, Additional Director Research. Mrs. L. Tinartiga, Additional Director Research. Mr. S. Devadas Chrysalis, sponsor. Mr. J. Vidujan Evan Pharmaceutical. Senior Professor Sivanandavel, University of Peradeniya, the Session Chair. The CIC representative. Professor Adhikari from Rajarata University. I was Cheshan Chair. Acting Librarian Kalpana Chandrasekhar. Miss Megumi from JICA and Miss Takiyama from JICA Presider. Professor T. Tulasida William Santakumar. Professor A. Thiruvaran. Mr. N. Selvanathan. Dr. S. Sukirta. Dr. A. Thayaparan from Rajaratnam University. Dr. R. Kanagaradnam, veterinary surgeon. Oh, Mrs. Rajita Jason. Professor P. Sevval. Mr. M. Rajidan Indra Group. Mrs. N. Niranjan. Thank you very much, and I hope that these proceedings will be disseminated and our research findings to that various institutions and outside experts came from various professional departments in various capacities. I hope that ICDA 2026 will be more successful than 2025. I hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
It's our privilege and honor to warmly welcome our chief guest, Professor S. Sri Setnur Raja, Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna, to deliver the chief guest address.
திருச்சிற்றம்பலம் ஆதியாய் நடுவுமாகி அளவிலா அளவுமாகி சோதியாய் உணர்வுமாகி தோன்றிய பொருளுமாகி பேதிய ஏகமாகி பெண்ணுமானுமாகி போதியான் என்ற தில்லைப் பொதுனிடம் போற்றி போற்றி. So cosmic dance take place in the microscopic level as well as in the macroscopic level as well as in the gigantic galaxies level. So in these proceedings we began with the dance of Lord Shiva. So due to this dance or the cosmic evolution, 4,500 million years ago, this entire universe as well as this planet originated. Since the origination, these planets orbit around the sun. So sun is the primary provider of the energy as well as source of our security. So without light, no photosynthesis. It's very difficult to imagine even what would be the scenario. There are dark planets We call them black gold. We don't know what is there. So you may wonder why this man talking. I am a mathematician, so I spend most of my time in the material existence. So in this material existence, this planet is a celebrated planet. And also the present age is also one of the most celebrated age in the entire existence of the legacy of evolution of human beings. It's a wonderful time. So everything's smart now. In this smart environment, we talk about sustainability, now environmental preservation, climate control, everything. So now we are talking about many aspects of life that support our existence. As a human beings, we have a physical existence. Since my birth, my biological clock is working. So my presence in this planet, 65 years. So we witness a lot of things from childhood, boyhood, adolescent period, and then the manhood, then the old age. So since that time we are consuming. For the consumption purpose, the modern man finds so many ways due to his evolution of knowledge. The knowledge shrine, the universities, is a higher echelon thing, the universities. Knowledge are cultivated like agriculture from kindergarten. But the higher terrain is the university. It's all civilization, whether in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere. So today we have a keynote speakers. The madam, I had to pronounce her name, Sasaki from northern hemisphere, Japan. It's a model country now. Everyone want to have, it's one of the role model country after the Second World War. They thrived again, and now they are setting a lead to the world. And other keynote speaker, Manjula from Southern Hemisphere, New Zealand, Lingam University, although he is a Sri Lankan. So New Zealand is another model for agriculture, because one of my colleagues, Massey University, they are very famous. My friends working there. So entire universe, the physical security, the food security, that is fundamental. Even US is a superpower. Russia is another power. China is another power. The G7 countries, they devote most of their concentration first on the self-sufficiency of the food. Even Germany, G7, giant 7 countries. For all this purpose, education is important. Then that is associated with the empowerment. Empowerment of the people, comfortable life, so that you can concentrate on the purpose of your life. So you don't sweat around for digging to cultivate the individual level or family level. So big farms are made. So the education coming to empowerment. The empowerment brings the economic development. So G7 countries, you see the G20. Now India entered in the G20. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I know the JICA people of Japan, through their government, supported the revival of our agriculture faculty, which was inaugurated 34 years ago under very trying circumstances. The first dean died whilst he was crossing the Punagiri bridge. You all crossed the bridge, the lagoon, where he died due to heart attack by bicycling from Jaffna. Because that time, this region was full of conflict. First dean died. His memorial speech coming in next month. So that's the way the sacrifice and dharma Dharma means Sri Lanka is a dharmic society. That's the way we claim. Some people say socialist society. It's a dharmic society. Dharma means support existence. So I say education support empowerment. Empowerment support economic development. Then consequently the people could do happy life, enjoy things in the intellectual existence. So that's what the physical existence, our body. Our body is a gift. Because you look at our body, 65 years ago I was in a one-cell embryo in the womb of my mother. Now how I develop? Trillions of cells. And also now a mathematician found the formula also what sort of energy is stored in my body. That is E is equal to mc squared. So every matter carries energy. So that energy comes from the primary source for our galaxy system is common. For the Japanese or New Zealanders or Australians is common. There is a source of energy, is a solar energy. Now we are trying to preserve that energy. We call it renewable energy. And we want to transform that energy. So for this purpose, we have an intellectual existence. So that brain is here, the top IoT system, best computer system in our skull. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I told about 34 years ago, conflict affecting our region. And despite all this problem, we inaugurated this faculty. Now the faculty was shifted into various places during the war front was moving, then we were moving. And despite of all that, now we originated again a place called Aravial, a knowledge city. This is the place, the grain ball of the northern province, the Vanni area. So in this area, we are now training the students in the most important discipline that is unique to the world, that is dry zone agriculture. And our Adhikari is here from Rajarata, so that's also dry zone. And also is very easy to forget our origin. Ladies and gentlemen, 300 years, more than 300 years, the European conquered our place and ruled this place. Aliens were ruling this place. Very, very sort of unacceptable level of governance. They came with the shotgun and the gunpowder. They controlled this area for 300 years. Before 300 years, 1000 years ago, our kings built tanks. Not 300 years. So 300 years we were in vacuum. Entire Sri Lanka. Because the Sri Lanka is a Shrandip. It's an island of paradise. For despite of all the wealth and the blessing we had from the divine, easy for the conquerors to arrive here. They didn't go to Persia, they didn't go to China. It's the mountain ranges are there. Easily they came by boat and they governed this place for 300 years. 300 years, no development. They only brought this tea industry and other our business-like things. It's not supporting our food security. Tea and rubber and all kind of things. So before that, the kings built all the sustainable models for us. Even this Vanni area, how many tanks? So now the irrigation engineers are working. In a post-independent Sri Lanka, even 1948 we got independence, and our University of Ceylon originated around 1950s, 60s. So since that time, we are evolving. So University of Jaffna originated 50 years ago, the knowledge shrine of the region. So that is our primary responsibility. We have to concentrate our responsibility. We are not going to do everything. So in the entire world, for example, the responsibility of mathematician. We work with so many mathematicians from Japan. We worked in the area of optimization. So optimization means not more than necessary in utilization of anything and everything. Even the production line, if you produce overproduction, then again people were crying. We see recently in the scenario, in the reels, in social media, we saw the farmers in the Biga threw their all vegetable in the road and hitting with a stick because they couldn't market it. The price is so low. So again, the overproduction going to create problem, environmental degradation. That's what today our experts are going to talk about, these various aspects of cultivation. So knowledge cultivation, the research important. Because without creating a knowledge, we cannot propagate knowledge. That's what our dean says, dissemination. For this, we have a small model. I wind up. Today technology, the best technology is called clouding. Clouding, even our VC media is working. So entire proceeding is now clouded with no time. No time, real time clouding. So clouding done, the name clouding come from ancient time. That's what I was telling. Adiyai Naduvumagi Alavilla Alavumagi. That cosmic dances take place. So invariably sun radiates, not only support the plants to produce food. While I was coming from Jaffna, I saw all the plants. They were plants, but they are useless in the sense they can be only used as a firewood or for furnitures. That's a barren plants. That's not cultivated. They are coming automatically for a natural arrangement. But for us, no ready-made things. No ready-made things, because human beings are imparted with some arrangement so that we had to produce, we had to cultivate, we had to culture, that is agriculture. So the culture, for example, paddy is a very tender plant, but it gives us nice food, the grains, all over the world, America, Ukraine, Russia, Europe, everywhere, the paddy or the other grains take a major role. So in this aspect, sun radiates. Now we know the scientific advancement of the nuclear. Our Professor Kandasamy is the man who taught me the atomic physics. The subatomic level, we understand things now. The third industrial revolution came with the nuclear energy. Now Europeans are running their energy generation from nuclear sources. Even the nearest nuclear source from Jaffna is not far away. Kumangulam is only 100 kilometers away from here. So nuclear generation. The nuclear generation also in the sun, they use the hydrogen. The lightest element. The entire universe now made of 112 elements. The hydrogen is the lightest. Lightest element is used to generate energy, the light, heat, and out of that everything came to existence. Now we are experts in soil, we have expert in water, we have expert in heat transfer, we have expert in everything now. It's all generated there. When the radiation take place, all the waters in the surface. Now the Sri Lanka is abundant with the water. Abundant. Whether it's salt water also very nice because the blue planet supported by salt water. Many living entities. Now aquaculture ladies are here. Williams, Mrs. William and all that. So the aquaculture, the fisheries environment is maintained by natural arrangements where we don't go and interfere there. Plenty of Sri Lankans are getting the food security from catching, fisheries means. That is there. That is a 2/3 of things. So from there, the radiation invariably, day and night, the earth revolves. So one day for light, day for us is a night for the US and other Pacific people. So earth goes around and radiation take place, everything get vaporized and clouding done. When the seasonal variation come, then we have Maga season, Jala season, and all seasons. So it's a natural arrangement done. So now organic farming people talking, organic is already there. That was, earlier it was there before all this scientific environment. Our dean was telling the invention of pesticide and fertilizers. So misusing not only take place with the agriculture, even misusing our body. That's why people die heart attack. When I had a heart attack. People get also kidney problems, that problem. So misusing the body. So we have to cultivate. I know I'm optimization expert. So many apps has been developed. So the smart things are coming to you to assist. Now you do multivariate analysis. You get sampling and all this. You put into the computer. Then the software SAS and all are working and give you what is the best parameters to do the problem. So we support. So entire discipline. Engineers support. Agriculture engineering is a department. So engineers support. Technology support. Science support. Support for what? Support our physical existence, food security. For that purpose, now we devoted a faculty. Faculty is 34 years old. So 11th year of conference. Conference where all these best brains merge and share their thoughts. Because the top ideas come, the innovation come, and somebody, one lit candle, light, 1,000 unlit candles. The youngsters are here. So they have the passion and the want and the yearning to contribute. It's a developing country. Developing country means it's not saturated. It's not self-sufficient in anything. So in that purpose, everyone has a play to contribute. So our agriculture research people are here, agrarian people are here, our alumni are here, those who are endeavoring for commercialization and automation are here. So it's a time for one day in the life to join together to address problem. So this clouding done, I told you, very slowly, particle by particle. That's what the Lord Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. The little advancement of knowledge, little advancement, one tip is enough. That's the way the big companies has come. One small idea that could generate a big boom for the entire country. That is Sony, that is Toyota, that is Honda. They brought fortunes, not everybody. Then the whole people are working for them. They found the model. So one of the top fortune companies in the world, that is the Hall of Fame, the Toyota name is there, the Sony's name is there. They come from very humble background. But they had idea. Yesterday, I was the UBL director, I met our lady of the Intellectual Property Commission. She said, post-independent Sri Lanka, 300 years we lost our time because the aliens, foreigners are coming and detecting us. Now the post-independent Sri Lanka, we have been struggling. At the same time, we are, persevering to build the country. So we are waiting for one Samsung or one company, one idea that could generate. So South Korea, how it come? So LG, and because Motorola and Nokia was dominating, where they are? Because these people have come with a small addition of invention and innovation. So the conference help. I know I want to greet all the first JICA people putting up money, Japanese people. The first project, 2 billion. Now the second phase going on, capacity development. So we have been constantly working for last 5-6 years. So people of the northern province and the regions are very grateful to you. And all other scientists who have come here and the young mind you assemble here. Thank you very much. Valga Valamudan, Valga Vaya.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. We respectfully request the dignitaries seated at the head table to take your seats in the front row. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the invaluable support of our sponsors, without whom this event could not have been realized. Our platinum sponsor, Jacob Reseda, University of Jaffna. Gold sponsor, CIC Agribusiness Private Limited. Bronze sponsors, Avon Pharmachem Private Limited, Hemsense International Private Limited, Chrysalis and People's Bank. Other sponsors, Hatton National Bank, Northern Modern Irrigation and ESP Nagaratnam. We extend our sincere thanks to each of them for their invaluable support and partnership.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next highlight of our agenda is the plenary speech. May I now request Professor G. Mikundan to introduce our plenary speaker, Dr. M. Kularatne, Lincoln University, New Zealand, to our esteemed audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, the organizers and the Dean, inviting me to introduce today's plenary speaker, my best friend, Dr. Manjula Kularatne. Of course, we often met through Zoom, but today we could be able to see face to face from New Zealand to Keynote. I am very much privileged to introduce Dr. Manjula Kularatne, who is serving as a senior lecturer at the Lincoln University, New Zealand. He obtained his Bachelor of Science with second upper, specialized in parasitology from the University of Colombo in the year 2006. And he subsequently did the Master of Science in Plant Health in the year 2013. Of course, the International Year of Plant Health. It was declared in 2020 by the FAO and the UN. Then afterwards, he did a doctoral degree in plant pathology from Louisiana State University, USA. With the support of the Graduate Student Travel Award in 2016 and Nathan A. Cobb Nematology Foundation Travel Award in the year 2017. He is a model to all of us to look into this. His undergraduate research focused on the nematocidal activity of plant extracts against root-of nematodes when he was doing in the University of Colombo. So he planned his own career in the discipline when now he is as a nematologist and serving in a bigger way and doing a lot of research on that. Reniform nematode, the Rhotilhangus reniformis, was the ideal candidate in his PhD research in nematodes in soybean grown in Louisiana. And he utilized single nucleotide polymorphism to evaluate the genetic variability. That was done in 2017. In his doctoral degree, he also worked, and in parallel, he worked with a well-renowned nematologist of New Zealand, Professor Charles Overstreet, and he has joint publications with him, more than 15, and I could able to witness that such a quality products, the research output is came out with the well-known nematologist. Dr. Manjula is in many plant pathology and nematology professional bodies and conducted a high number of research studies, particularly in nematology. We need such a person in our faculty in nematology specialization. Of course, we have sent one person to a university in USA. Unfortunately, after graduation, the lady didn't come back. So we had such vacuum there in the Department of Agriculture Biology. Then we had a helping hand from Dr. Manjula to train one of our staff member in nematology. Fortunately, I was joining with them in the team because of the COVID 2019. So he started his preliminary studies, of course, hands-on training here locally in the regional studies in Anuradhapura district. And after doing that, he moved to Lincoln University and he completed, I think the vibration is still there. He completed the doctoral degree there and he is the financial chair of this conference today. Dr. Manjula has published many research papers in high index journal, particularly in nematology, and he has presented many research papers in the reputed international conferences. He is now supervising many students, giving hand to our staff members, to even having a collaborative research in near future. I hope we will extend this collaboration. And with that brief note, I would like to welcome Dr. Manjula Kularatne to deliver his plenary speech. Over to you, sir.
All right, good morning everyone, and thank you very much for that nice introduction. I was actually planning on introducing myself. I have 2 slides, but I think I can skip those now. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me for this event. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you guys here. So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about some of the research that I've been involved in during my academic career. I hope some of the things that we discussed today would be applicable to Sri Lanka as well. Right. So as mentioned, I got my degrees from both University of Colombo and Louisiana State University. After finishing my PhD program, I had the chance to join Lincoln University. So for the people who are not so familiar with the geography of New Zealand, we have 2 islands, the north and the south. The Lincoln University is situated in the South Island. So I got some pictures to show you about the university. We got some nice labs, nice atmosphere for the students to work there. And then in this picture, you can see a traditional Maori dance that they normally perform for events like today. Right, switching gears, we are going to talk about some nematode research from now on. I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with the nematodes. For the people who are not so familiar, I'll just give you a brief introduction to these organisms. So the nematodes are the most abundant multicellular animals in the world. To give you an analogy, if you remove all the matter out of the earth, except for the nematodes, the earth would still be visible vaguely from space. So they are highly abundant. And they occupy pretty much all the ecological niches as well. Right. When it comes to the plant pathogenic nematodes, only 10% of the phylum Nematoda are plant pathogens. But having said that, this 10% can cause significant economic losses to modern day agriculture. So these figures are actually a bit outdated, but when we look at the figures, normally we lose more than $150 billion each year due to the nematode damage across the globe. So country-wise, they have different figures indicating how bad this problem is. So if you look at the North America, they are normally using around 5 to 8 billion US dollars each year due to the nematodes. So these nematodes, the plant pathogenic ones, are normally inhabit the soil, so they are soil-borne pests, so they cause a lot of damage to the root systems. When the nematodes are there, the plants cannot uptake nutrients and water, therefore you will see overall unhealthy looking plants. So if you focus the picture up on your right side, you can see stunted plants and patchy appearance in the field. But if you look at the root systems, you can clearly see the symptoms caused by the nematodes. To make things worse, these nematodes have a very wide host range. So pretty much everything that we grow across the world have either several genera or species of these nematodes. So it's a big issue in modern agriculture. To make things worse, there are only few researchers working on this area. Therefore, the amount of knowledge that we have on these organisms are very, very limited. Right. So I'm going to focus on 3 different research areas that I was been involved in. Precision nematode management, the effects of nutrients on nematode management, and finally, the impact of nematodes on cereal crops. So let's get started with the precision nematode management. So this would be really applicable for Sri Lanka as well. So traditionally, if you have a nematode issue, we normally go to the field and do a simple survey such as the one that you can see here. Go for, in a zigzag manner, collect some samples and then put them all together to make a composite sample. And with that, you extract the nematodes, and if the nematode levels are above a certain level, you typically apply a management strategy, in this case, a nematicide across the field. But with the nematological knowledge we have, we know that these nematodes are not evenly distributed in a field. So when you take a field, there are patches where we can find very high numbers of nematodes, and some places where very low population exists. And on the other hand, if you use excessive amounts of chemicals, the nematicides are highly toxic. They are neurotoxins, so it's very bad on natural fauna and flora. And also it can contaminate water as well. So if you can come up with an idea to reduce the chemical input, that would definitely benefit the growers economically, and also it can help the environment to be sustainable. So with that mindset, we have developed a way to control these nematodes precisely by looking at soil physiochemical properties. So to do that, we initially came up with an idea to do nematode sampling in a manner so that we can capture the actual representation of these nematodes across a field. So in this method, we normally divide the field into small manageable portions, and within each segment, we do a zigzag pattern to collect the samples. We collect composite samples from each location. So if you can see in this picture, each composite sample is a composition of 12 to 15 soil cores collected in a 4-meter radius. Mix them all together and then put it into a plastic bag. At the same time, we normally take the GPS locations as well, so that we can use that data later on when we visualize the actual impacts of these nematodes. So as I mentioned earlier, these nematodes have a direct relationship with the soil physiochemical properties, mainly the soil texture and soil nutrients. So if we can utilize one of these, or if we understand these physiochemical properties a little bit better, then we can utilize that to manage the nematodes. So that's what we did in these research experiments. So we selected soil texture to see how this impact the population densities and then the distribution of the nematodes in a field. So measuring soil texture, we have different methods to use. We can either manually do that, or use LiDAR technique to detect the soil texture in a field, or we can use the electrical conductivity. So in this research, we use a machine called a Varis 3100 soil electrical conductivity mapping system. What it does, we just attach that to a tractor, and then the tractor normally passes through the field. So what this machine does, within every 20 seconds, it will emit an electrical current to the soil, and then the current will bounce back to the receivers on the either side of the machine. At the same time, the GPS position is recorded into a computer, so we will have the electrical current rating and also the GPS points together. So in a field, you will get thousands and thousands of data points using this technology. Let's see how we can combine this data set with the numbers that we collected earlier from our nematode sampling and then utilize that to manage nematodes. So modern day, we have different computer softwares. We call it the geographical information system, such as ArcGIS. We can put all of our data together to visualize the correlation between the data sets. So we used ArcGIS in this particular research. So in the first picture, you can see different color schemes going across the field, and it indicates different soil textural classes in the field. So the darker colored areas are the ones having high clay content, whereas the lighter colored areas having high sand content. So with our nematological knowledge, we know that some nematodes prefer certain soil textural classes. So we looked at the root knot nematode distribution in this example, and what we found with our nematode numbers that most of the nematodes are concentrated towards the sandier part of the soil. Right, so with this data, let's see how we can utilize this to manage them properly. So initially I mentioned when we find nematodes in a field, what we used to do is to treat the whole field with a chemical. But with this data now, we know the nematodes are concentrated in different parts of the field. If we use that information to control the nematodes, we can actually treat half of the field with the chemicals, cutting down the cost, cutting down the environmental impact, but get the same yield increase with this type of a practice. So it's commonly being used in America, and we are trying to utilize this in New Zealand setting as well. So this is, as one of the speakers told us earlier, we are running out of the land mass to produce our food. But if we can manage the fields that we have to increase our yield potential, that would be really beneficial. So this would be one of the things that we can look into. Right. Second one that I'm going to talk about is the effects of soil nutrient on nematode population density and also the reproduction and the pathogenicity. So typically, as I mentioned earlier, we have to come up with different chemicals to control these nematodes. But what if we can use nutrients to control these populations? So we normally add nutrients into the soil to get a better crop yield. So with that in mind, what we saw, so this is an example of cotton in Louisiana. The problematic nematode is the reniform nematode. So what we saw is that every time when we see very high levels of nematodes, it's normally associated with some kind of a nutrient deficiency, especially the phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur. So with that in mind, we designed few experiments, field and greenhouse trials, and I'm going to show you a few of the greenhouse trials today, to see whether these nutrients can do something to the reproduction and in the pathogenicity of the nematodes. So for the initial set of experiments, we used phosphorus and potassium to see whether these nutrients can alter the reproduction and the pathogenicity of the nematodes. So we were really happy to see that phosphorus, when we add in high levels, it can actually significantly reduce the reproduction of these nematodes. So that's a good positive thing that we found. And also, on the other hand, when you have decent levels of phosphorus in the soil, the plants performs really well. So we had both reduction of the nematodes and increase in the plant parameters, biomass. So next, what we wanted to see is what level of phosphorus that we need to add into the soil to get the same amount of benefits. So we had different levels of phosphorus to test this hypothesis, and we used other two nutrients as well, potassium and sulfur, and wanted to see which levels would give us a positive impact. Again, we found when we increase the level of phosphorus in the soil, it can actually reduce the nematode population. So it backed up the earlier set of experiments that I have mentioned. And on the other hand, it also increased the the biomass. So the take-home message from that set of experiments is that rather than solely rely on nematicides, we can actually change the nutrient composition in the soil to get a decent protection from these nematodes. So that's really applicable not just to the place that we did the research, but it's applicable globally. Right. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about some of the work that Thiru had been doing for his PhD. So the total credit should go to Thiru, but I'll explain some of the things that we found. So we wanted to see the impact of nematodes in cereal crops. So initially we were planning to work on wheat in New Zealand because New Zealand produces a good amount of wheat for local consumption, and we wanted to test whether these nematodes have an impact. But due to COVID lockdown, we had to switch the crop to maize or corn, and we had to develop our hypothesis to evaluate that. So when we went through the literature, what we found, there's been almost 2 decades without any research in both countries to address this issue. There were a few publications which was done in 1997, 1994, indicating that there's an association with nematodes with maize crop. But other than that, there was no information whatsoever available in the literature. So what we wanted to know whether these nematodes can impact maize or other cereal crops as well. So we've done a thorough investigation in both countries. So we went through all the major maize growing regions in Sri Lanka and also in New Zealand. In the Sri Lankan so we selected 15 different fields, 14 different fields, and we have done an intensive sampling in four different fields having high levels of nematode populations. So when it comes to New Zealand, we have selected 24 fields across New Zealand. We pretty much covered every single area where they have maize crop in the country. So this survey was done within around 2 years' time, I guess, and this is what we have found. In Sri Lanka, we found several different species associated with maize crops, from spiral, ring, root knot, lance, and the root lesion nematode. But out of the 5 that I mentioned, root lesion nematode tends to be the most predominant one in Sri Lanka. Because we haven't done any research in this area, we didn't have any threshold level to compare our nematode numbers against a threshold. So we based our findings on a threshold level which was reported elsewhere in the world. So we based our number, the 2,000 nematodes per kilogram of soil, as the baseline, and then we compared our numbers in Sri Lanka. So what we found, the numbers that we are finding in our fields are way above the threshold levels mentioned elsewhere in the world. So we are having lots of nematodes in our field. But unfortunately, we have no idea how much yield that we are losing due to these nematodes, and therefore further research needs to be done to validate this. Right. When you look at the scenario in New Zealand, we found the similar trend in New Zealand as well. Even though we are looking at a temperate region, the root lesion nematode tend to be the most predominant one associated with maize. So we found other types of nematodes as well, but compared to root lesion nematode abundance, the other nematodes were neglectable. So they were very low in numbers. Right. So with the work, the molecule and the morphological identification gave us 5 different species of the Platylencus or the root lesion nematodes present in New Zealand, and out of which the most damaging Neglectus and Thornii were present in the soil as well. So we haven't done a morphological or a molecular analysis for Sri Lanka. If we come across somewhat similar species in Sri Lanka as well, we might still have a problem. The last one that I want to show you, before that, as I mentioned, these nematodes does not have a even distribution in a field. So this is an example of such a case. So if you can look at this picture, you can see different sizes of squares across the field. The size of the square indicates the population density of the nematode as mentioned in this legend. So here you can clearly see some nematodes, some parts of the field have very high populations of the nematodes, whereas some parts of the field does not have any issue. So the first thing that I mentioned, the precision nematode management can easily be applied in such a situation. Right. So after finding that the root lesion nematode to be the most predominant and the most damaging one to maize cultivation, we just wanted to see whether the commercially available hybrid lines are either susceptible or resistant to these nematodes, because we know that it's in the farms, in the fields, and then people normally grow these hybrid lines in those farms. So we coupled up with Pioneer Seeds in New Zealand, who are the main distributor for the maize seeds in New Zealand. We got pretty much all the hybrid lines they have commercially available. So in your y-axis, it shows the reproductive factor. What it means is the population increase during a given time period of this for these Platylencus nematodes. So if the value is above 1, that means the testing crop is susceptible for this particular organism. So if you look at the first graph, you can see a reproductive value of 3, indicating all the tested varieties are highly susceptible for this Platylencus nematode. We did 2 different trials, a 45-day and a 60-day trial, and then we saw pretty much the same thing across all the tested varieties. So in New Zealand context, we have very damaging nematode, and pretty much all the seeds we have are highly susceptible. So currently I'm working with farmer communities and industry to develop a threshold level for New Zealand and to come up with different management strategies to control this problem. So at the moment we don't have any information whatsoever for Sri Lanka, but if we have something similar, we can, the knowledge that we are gathering in New Zealand can be applied to Sri Lanka as well. Right, so the concluding summary from the talk that I did today is that we can precisely manage nematode by using modern technology with existing methods we have, and also we can use simple solutions such as soil nutrient, balancing soil nutrients to control these nematodes. Other than that, we can use natural products to control these nematodes, and we really don't have to rely solely on chemicals. So with our third set of experiments, we saw that the root lesion nematode tend to be a problem in cereal crops, and this needs to be addressed if you want to get a higher yield from these crops. Right, with that I would like to conclude the talk, but before wrapping up, I want to show you some pictures of the work that we are doing at Lincoln University, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this face who had completed the PhD and joined the Jaffna University. Right, thank you so much. And, are there any questions? Are there any questions from the top? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your invaluable insight. Ladies and gentlemen, the next important item on our agenda is the keynote speech. May I now request Professor Mrs. N. Gnanavel Raja to kindly introduce our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Y. Sasaki, Yamakata University, Japan, to introduce our audience.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce today's keynote speaker, a distinguished academic and a researcher in the field of soil science, Dr. Yuka Sasaki. Dr. Sasaki is an associate professor at the Faculty of Agriculture, Yamagata University, Japan, and currently serves as a JICA expert, JICA Presida, University of Jaffna. She obtained a bachelor degree and a master degree in agriculture in the same university, the University of Yamagata, Japan. And she obtained her doctoral degree from the United Graduate School of Agricultural Sciences, Aiwate University, Japan. With over 20 years of experience in soil science, especially rice soils, Dr. Sasaki is internationally recognized for her contributions to precision agriculture in rice cultivation. Her work has been published in top-tier journals as well as in books, which has had a transformative impact on both academic discourse and real-world applications. She also has been serving in different distinct societies. A few to mention are Japanese Society of Soil Science and Plant Nutrition, Society of Sago Plant Studies, Japanese Society of Irrigation, Drainage and Rural Engineering. Today, Dr. Yuka Sasaki will deliver a keynote speech on a topic very much relevant to this region and this conference: effects of organic matter application for sustainable rice cultivation. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Yuka Sasaki. The podium is over to you, Dr. Sasaki. Thank you.
Sorry, the previous model is better for me. The previous one. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Narina, and good morning, everyone. I'm Yuka Sasaki from JICA expert and also associate professor of Yamagata University. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to talk about my research and specialty in front of you because I just arrived here and I'm very good to introduce by myself in this opportunity. Today, I'd like to talk about effects of organic matter application for sustainable rice cultivation. And before that, I would like to introduce a little bit about myself. Even though Professor Narina already introduced, my specialty is edaphology. It's a part of the soil science and also the related to crop science. And main interest is the relationship between paddy soil fertility and rice growth. And especially for the effect of organic matter application on the paddy soil fertility and rice growth. Also, the effect of spatial variation of paddy soil fertility on the regional rice growth variation. Today, I will talk about the first point mainly. And I write the main academic social I belong to, but already Professor Narina introduced, so I would like to skip here. And I have been accepting international students in Yamagata University, some master course students and one doctor course student through the Mombucho Scholarship of Japan or the JICA AgriNet Scholarship or JICA Up Initiative. So I'm still working in the university in Japan, so after of this work, I'm thinking that I want to have many students, master course students from this University of Faculty of Agriculture. Today's my content is as follows. First, I would like to talk about the characteristic of paddy field soil and the role of organic matter. It's like basic information. And then I'd like to talk about the effect of organic matter application to paddy fields
And I would like to introduce some research results and conclude for sustainable agriculture. First, I would like to talk about the characteristic of paddy field soil. Paddy field have a unique environment that is conducive to sustainable agriculture, because paddy field means the water lodging condition, and the soil become reductive condition. So it's different from the upland field because there is a water on the surface. In this condition, one crop can be grown continuously. It's very difficult in the upland soil, but in the water lodging field, it's possible to one crop grown continuously, because like nematodes or harmful microorganisms cannot survive under reductive condition because no oxygen condition. And also substances that cause injury by continuous cropping or soil damage are easily washed away by the water, because we irrigate many water to the paddy field. Also, the reductive conditions affect nutrients availability, positive effect for nutrients availability. For example, nitrogen is fixed by algae living in the flooding water. Phosphorus becomes available form caused like ionized or by ionized or mineralized. Nutrients, other nutrients like silica, calcium, magnesium, potassium, depending on the geology of the upstream, are supplied by irrigation water. Also, reductive conditions slow the decomposition of organic matter, and therefore organic matter accumulates in the soil more than upland soil. Organic matter accumulation in the soil have the many good points for biological properties, for physical properties, and chemical properties. If the organic matter accumulates in the soil, increase the soil microbial biomass and diversity will increase. And it's promoting aggregation. If there are many aggregation in the soil, it improves air and water permeability and water retention. And these aggregates preserve the habitat of microorganisms. So it's also positive effect on biological properties. And microorganisms decompose organic matter and form of humic substance. So microorganisms will improve the chemical properties to supply nutrients or to form humic substance. And humic substance also promote aggregation. So these are the closely relationship. And this good condition, this environment in soil, it's good for agricultural crop cultivation. So the organic matter accumulation is very important for sustainable agriculture. In the paddy fields, organic matter naturally and also artificially applied. For example, this is the supply of organic matter naturally. This is a result of a 50-year long-term experiment in Japan. It's not my research, but I get from the book. And this long-term experiment has two treatments, unfertilized and chemical fertilizers. And both treatments were supplied organic matter, this amount, kg per hectare per year. From this to this, it's from rice, like rice root or the dead leaves like that. And now this part, this organic matter comes from weeds. algae or aquatic weeds or the residue of weeds, like that. And if we apply chemical fertilizer to the field, these nutrients supplied to rice itself and also weeds, so more organic matter are supplied to the field, returned to the field in the chemical fertilizer treatment. And this amount, 5,000 kg per hectare per year, it's very big because rice straw production in Japan is about 5,000 to 6,000 kg per hectare per year. So almost the same amount of rice straw production naturally supplied to the paddy field during the cultivation. And I'm conducting a research about this kind of point, organic matter supplied to the paddy field and how its effect on soil fertility. So I would like to show some results of my research. Okay. And the organic matter that I used to target was rice straw and cow dung compost. In Japan, the most common organic matter artificially applied to paddy fields is rice straw because after the combine harvester is become commonly used. At the harvesting time, the rice straw cut and throw to the paddy field and plow into the soil when the plowing time. So most paddy fields are applied to rice straw in Japan. And another organic matter application by artificially is cow manure compost. Is the most common compost to apply paddy field in Japan. So I compared the rice straw application and the cow manure compost application, and also the both rice straw plus cow dung compost, cow manure compost application plot and control. So I compared the 4 treatment: control, rice straw application, cow manure compost application, and rice straw plus cow dung compost application treatment. And I had been measured the soil organic matter or soil nutrients content from 2015 until 2022. And this is a result, the amount of carbon input. This bar graph is carbon input, and the soil organic matter, soil organic carbon contents from the initial time to the 2022. And control means, CT means no organic matter application. So the carbon input is 0, no carbon input, because it's only applied by nutrients, chemical fertilizer. And the soil organic carbon was decreased gradually during this period because, yes. And soil organic carbon in the rice straw treatment was stable during this period. And cow dung compost treatment slightly increased. And the rice straw plus cow dung compost increased more than the other treatment. Maybe it's because of the carbon input, it's more than the other treatment. So soil organic carbon tended to increase with continuous organic matter application. The increasing rate was dependent on the amount of carbon inputs. You need batteries. Cannot work. Sorry, it cannot work. Cannot move that to the next. Okay. Yes. This is a result of nitrogen balance and the change in available nitrogen in soil. Thank you. Okay. Nitrogen balance, this bar graph was calculated as the difference between the amount of nitrogen input through like fertilization and the amount of output removed through absorption by rice plant. And it was lowest in CT, no organic matter application, and then rice straw, compost, and rice straw plus compost. And available nitrogen was increased in all treatments, even the CT treatment, because there is a positive nitrogen balance, I think. And then the slope of the increase in available nitrogen followed the same order of nitrogen balance. CT, RS, CP, RS plus CP, like this. So the available nitrogen was followed, we understand that the available nitrogen was followed the nitrogen balance. Available phosphorus also has a similar result as available nitrogen. And the phosphorus balance also, CT is the lowest and RS plus CP was the highest. The increasing rate was followed, available phosphorus was higher in CP and rice straw plus CP treatment. These are the higher phosphorus balance than CT and rice straw treatment. This is a potassium balance and the change in exchangeable potassium in soil. Potassium balance in CT, no organic matter application, was negative. Absorption more than the input. And exchangeable potassium also decreased clearly in CT treatment, maybe because of the negative potassium balance. The other three organic matter application treatments of exchangeable potassium was increased during the experiment. And I think because of the potassium balance was positive. So the soil available or exchangeable nutrients was follow the nutrient balance. And if the remaining from the input is more, the soil available nutrients also increase. Sorry, I already explained that the soil organic carbon and soil available nitrogen, phosphorus, and exchangeable potassium tended to increase with continuous organic matter application. And the increase rate was depending on the amount of carbon input and also nutrient balance. It was the conclusion of this research. And I'm currently conducting research into the recycling of organic matter. So I would like to introduce some more about of my research. One of the organic matter I use is residue from rice bran oil extraction. It's defatted rice bran. After the extraction of rice oil, the residue is defatted rice bran. 80% of rice bran will remain as defatted rice bran. And it contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So we are thinking to use this organic matter. Usually it's discarded, but we thought it can be used as a fertilizer. And also organic sludge is also produced during the processing process. And it's also contain nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And the nitrogen content is more in organic sludge than defatted rice bran. So we decided to use not only defatted rice bran, but also organic sludge can be used for as fertilizers. So we used as the materials of defatted rice bran. To apply easy, we pelletized and then use as a fertilizer. And also, defatted rice bran and organic sludge mixed and make compost and pelletized to use as a fertilizer. These two kind of materials we use for the field experiment to compare with chemical fertilizer conventional treatment, also nitrogen-free treatment. And this is a treatment of the field experiment that we conducted. There are 4 treatments. One is CF, chemical fertilizer, conventional treatment. And next is DR, defatted rice bran treatment. And DRSC is defatted rice bran plus organic sludge compost. And the last treatment is N-free, nitrogen-free plot. We apply nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium at 6 grams per square meter as the conventional way in our area. And to make the same amount of nitrogen application, defatted rice bran and DRSC apply 6 grams nitrogen per square meter as the total nitrogen. And it have more phosphorus than 6 grams, but we just ignored. And for the potassium, we add a little bit of chemical fertilizer to make 666, same amount of potassium application. And in free treatment, we didn't apply nitrogen, but phosphorus and potassium apply same as the CF treatment. And during the cultivation, we usually apply top dressing at panicule initiation stage. So instead of N-free treatment, we apply 2 grams nitrogen per square meter as a top dressing nitrogen fertilizer. And we had a 4 replication and then conduct the rice cultivation research in the paddy fields. And get the brown rice yield, like this figure, chemical fertilizer, compared to the chemical fertilizer treatment, defatted rice bran was get the same, almost the same yield and no significant difference between them. But CRSC treatment, even we apply the same amount of nitrogen, the brown rice yield was lower than chemical fertilizer treatment, but significantly higher than nitrogen-free treatment. And this is the nitrogen absorption pattern during the rice growth cultivation. And the blue color means the chemical fertilizer treatment. It was the highest, and the N-free treatment was always the lowest. And DR, defatted rice bran treatment, was close to the chemical fertilizer treatment and had no significant difference at the end and at the harvesting time. And DRSC treatment was low, showed the nitrogen absorption, especially for the early growth stage. But at last, at the harvesting time, there was no significant difference between defatted rice bran and DRSC, and also chemical fertilizer treatment. And it's significantly higher than N-free treatment. So DRSC treatment, it may supply nitrogen slower than the defatted rice bran, we thought. So we test to confirm about that nitrogen release from DRSC compared to the DR. So we tested, we burn these materials in the paddy-filled soil and measure the amount of residual nitrogen from the materials. And this is the result. At the beginning, it's 100%, and then if the nitrogen released from these materials, it decreases. And we conducted this research at the plowing time to the harvesting time. So this is the harvesting time. DR, the fatted rice bran, was decreased nitrogen remaining rate rapidly. And at the last, at harvesting time, about 80% of the nitrogen was provided from the fatted rice bran. So the defatted rice bran can supply nitrogen to the soil at least. And then some part of that released nitrogen can be absorbed by rice bran. But DRSC decreased less compared to the DR, and at the harvesting time, about 30% of the nitrogen was provided from DRSC. Maybe that's why the rice yield and the nitrogen uptake was much lower in DRSC than DR. Also, we measure the mineralization rate of nitrogen from the materials. Mixed with the soil, the materials were mixed with the soil and incubated under the flooding condition. And then measure the mineralization rate of nitrogen. And then we calculate from the mineralized nitrogen from the materials, and then show the as percentage. The blue color shows the defatted rice bran, and about 50% of the nitrogen was mineralized by the time the accumulated temperature corresponding to the harvesting time. This is about 3,500 degrees Celsius is almost the harvesting time. So half of the nitrogen of defatted rice can be mineralized. So mineralized nitrogen can absorbed by rice bran. So at least half of the defatted rice bran of nitrogen can be absorbed by rice bran. The RSC of mineralized nitrogen rate of DRSC was very small. Even at the initial, about less than 10% of nitrogen was mineralized. And then no more than nitrogen was mineralized. So it's very few mineralized nitrogen was released from the RSC, and that's why the rice bran could not absorb enough nitrogen and then have lower yield. From these results from the field experiment and this incubation experiment, we conclude that this nitrogen, defatted rice bran pellet, supply increased the nitrogen supply of this material, increased the growth and yield of rice as a substitute for nitrogen fertilizer. So it can be used as a fertilizer, nitrogen fertilizer. But DRSC, defatted rice bran, and organic sludge compost pellet, this nitrogen supply was very small, so that its effectiveness in improving rice growth and yield was low when used as a substitute for nitrogen fertilizer. So that we are thinking to study more about these materials, if we should use or if we have to improve how to use these materials. This slide is a conclusion for sustainable agriculture at the end of my speech. The nutrients that remain without being released from the applied organic matters accumulate in the soil. Furthermore, some of the inorganic nutrients that are not absorbed by rice bran is taken up by microorganisms and accumulate in the soil, making it available to subsequent crops. So it's origin of the soil fertility. And food processing residues are organic matter that is usually discarded, but many of them contain high nutrient contents. Oil cakes, such as defatted rice bran, which were used in our study, contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Other of these, bone meal, for example, bone meal is high in phosphorus, and fish meal is high in nitrogen and phosphorus. So it may be able to use as fertilizers. It has a potential to use fertilizers. And it is necessary to consider how to effectively use these materials as fertilizers for crop cultivation, taking advantage of their respective nutrient contents and nutrient supply characteristics, because it can be used as a fertilizer, no need to discard. So I'm still conducting this kind of research in Japan, and I want to continue more. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Madam, for your valuable and insightful presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next important item on our agenda is the invited speech, which will be joined by virtually. May I request Professor N. Kannan to kindly introduce our invited speaker, Dr. H.A. Suravira, to the audience.
Very good morning, everyone, gathered here to grace this special occasion, ICDA 2025. I am highly privileged to stand here to introduce our invited speaker, Dr. Himal Suravira. Dr. Himal is a renowned scientist in Sri Lanka in the field of wireless communication. He has been serving as a senior lecturer at the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering in the University of Peradeniya. He obtained his PhD from Monash University in Australia in 2007. He has served many positions, postdoctoral research associate at the Singapore University of Technology and Design between 2009 and 2011. And research fellow at Victoria University in Australia between 2007 and 2009. His research works are connected to areas wireless communication, communication theory, relay networking, energy harvesting, physical layer security, and cognitive radio systems. Moreover, he obtained Young Asia Pacific Outstanding Researcher Award in 2011. Furthermore, he has been actively serving in the editorial board of IEEE Communications Letters. Interestingly, to his accolade, he has attracted 10,013 citations so far for his publications in reputed journals. With the H index of 53 and the I-10 index of 123, it keeps him very smart in his academic field. With this brief note, I invite Dr. Himal to deliver his invited talk titled Machine Learning and Smart Agriculture. This is over to you, Dr. Himal. We are very proud to have you here. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to grace this special occasion. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Dr. Himanshu Ravira, a senior lecturer in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering at the University of Peradeniya. It is a great honor to deliver this plenary talk at the 11th International Conference on Dry Zone Agriculture. And I sincerely thank the organizers for the kind invitation. Today, I will be speaking on the topic of machine learning and smart agriculture. My research focuses on wireless communications, signal processing, and machine learning. In particular, I'm interested in how machine learning can be applied to create intelligent solutions across various sectors, agriculture being a key area of impact. I also explore how the efficient design of communication systems can support the data transmission, storage, and computation needs of such smart systems. I look forward to sharing some insights, applications, and opportunities at the intersection of machine learning and modern agriculture. I hope the first slide of my presentation is visible to all of you. So let me begin my presentation with the question, why agriculture needs innovation? Historically, agriculture has relied on traditional practices, for example, manual labor, seasonal rainfall, and generational knowledge. While these systems served humanity for centuries, they are increasingly inadequate in addressing the scale and complexity of today's global agricultural challenges. First, global population growth. For example, in 1800s, it was 1 billion, and in 1950s, it was 2.5 billion, and in 2024, more recently, it was increased to about 8.1 billion, continues to rise, exerting immense pressure on food systems. At the same time, the amount of cultivable land is contracting or reducing due to the urban expansion and land degradation. Water scarcity is another critical issue, with agriculture accounting for over 70% of global freshwater use, a figure that is unsustainable clearly under current climate projections. Moreover, climate vulnerability is introducing new risks and uncertainties, disrupting planting cycles and reducing yield stability. Labor shortages, especially as farming populations age, are further complicating production capacity. In many regions, we also observe persistently low agricultural productivity increased by inefficient inputs and outdated infrastructure. And increasingly, farmers must contend with plant and animal diseases that are becoming more resistant as also harder to manage. In this context, agricultural innovation is not simply a strategic advantage, it is also a necessity. Technological advancements in precision agriculture, biotechnology, climate resilient crop development, and digital decision support tools for effective solutions. But innovation must also be systematic, addressing sustainability, inclusivity, and adaptivity in the face of ongoing change. So what is smart agriculture? So smart agriculture can be defined or refers to integration of advanced technologies that can be used to optimize and automate farming operations. This approach depends on a wider range of tools, including sensor networks, Internet of Things, geospatial technologies, machine learning, and big data analytics to collect and analyze real-time information from the field. For example, IoT sensors can monitor soil moisture, temperature, and nutritional levels, while machine learning algorithms process this data to generate precise location-specific recommendations for irrigation or fertilization. Also, cloud platforms enable seamless access to data from anywhere, and agricultural robots can automate tasks such as planting, spraying, as well as harvesting with minimal human intervention. The key advantage of smart agriculture are multifold. For example, first, it enhances resource efficiency, reducing unnecessary use of water, energy, as well as chemical inputs. Second, it helps to achieve higher yields by enabling timely data-driven decisions tailored to local conditions. Third, it supports a more sustainable environmental footprint, for example, minimizing runoff emissions as well as soil degradation. So in a nutshell, smart agriculture transforms farming from reactive experience-based practices into more proactive data-informed systems, one that is more productive as well as sustainable in the face of these global challenges. So now let me talk about the role of machine learning. So machine learning, or in short, we call it ML, is a key branch of AI, or artificial intelligence, where systems learn differently from data, enabling them to make predictions or inform decisions without explicit programming. So in the context of smart agriculture, machine learning plays a transformative role by analyzing vast data sets from sensors, satellite imagery, as well as drone imagery. Also, using historical records, machine learning algorithms can excel at pattern recognition, identifying trends and anomalies that would be difficult for humans to detect. So this capacity underpins accurate prediction and forecasting, such as anticipating crop yields, disease outbreaks, as well as weather impacts, allowing farmers to prepare and respond more proactively. So machine learning also enables development of decision support systems, which synthesize, let's say, complex data inputs to offer actionable recommendations on, for example, irrigation schedules, fertilization rates, as well as pest control measures, and so on. Also, machine learning provides or powers the autonomous navigation of, for example, agricultural machinery, such as self-driving tractors, drones, as well as increasing operational efficiency. So in summary, machine learning serves as the intelligence behind smart agriculture, turning raw data into practice, predictive insights that enhance productivity, sustainability, as well as resilience across the farming landscape. So with that, let me introduce you a little bit more on machine learning. Machine learning is a branch of, as you all know, artificial intelligence that enables computers to self-learn from training data, as well as to improve over time without being explicitly programmed, as stated earlier. And also AI in the context of machine learning is much more a broader concept. Machines will learn to make decisions, learn new skills, as well as solve problems in similar ways to humans. So on the other hand, machine learning enables systems to automatically learn and improve data from scratch, or also without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning can analyze large volumes of data and frequently outperforms humans in accuracy as well as efficiency. So it can be used to address well-defined problems. So there are several types of machine learning. For example, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, as well as deep learning. So in supervised learning, we give training data as well as the desired outputs in the form of labels. So the machine learning models are trained on this label data, and when they are being tested with unseen images or data, and they are able to accurately classify or predict the target output. So that is supervised learning. So in unsupervised learning, we give training data without desired outputs or labels in this context. The algorithm will learn how to cluster this data into a couple of groups so that they are useful in different applications. Say, for example, unsupervised learning can be applied in, for example, to crop type classification from satellite imagery. So the problem is large agricultural areas often lack, for example, label data for each field crop type. Also manual labeling is very expensive as well as time consuming. So the solution is to apply some kind of a unsupervised clustering algorithm. For example, K-means or DBS scan also to group pixels and plots with similar spectral signature. So in this way, the clusters may correspond to distinct groups or vegetation types. So in reinforcement learning, our aim is that an agent learns to make decisions by interacting with an environment to maximize a cumulative reward. So in this case, an agent observes the current state, then chooses an action based on some kind of a policy, then the environment responds with a certain reward and enters into a new state. So the agent updates its policy to maximize future cumulative rewards. So likewise, deep learning also models, the deep learning models consist of numerous layers of interconnected nodes, and each layer progressively learns higher levels of features from raw input. Models learn by adjusting connection weights to minimize the error. So typically a machine learning pipeline in agriculture consists of data collection, data pre-processing, feature learning, model training and validation, deployment, and monitoring and maintenance. So basically collection involves sensors, drones, satellites, weather stations, and so on. So the type of data that is being collected includes soil data, plant images, weather information, and harvesting records. So data pre-processing is required to do noise removal, also to do annotation, as well as to augment in the case that the data is not sufficient. So then we do also techniques such as PCA, principal component analysis, and then we train this model, and then we validate, and then we deploy the machine learning application in mobile apps. For example, in mobile apps, edge servers, as well as in cloud computing platforms. So now let me introduce you to a couple of machine learning applications in agriculture. First, I will discuss about disease and pest detection. So pest and disease management represents a critical application for smart agriculture, where early detection is very important to prevent widespread crop damage, as well as to prevent significant yield losses. So by leveraging advanced machine learning techniques, we can enable timely interventions that are not only reduce the severity of infestations, but also minimize the overuse of pesticides, thereby promoting sustainable agricultural practices. So the data driving these predictive models is very rich, as well as diverse. So they include high resolution images, captured typically using smartphones, fixed field cameras, as well as drones, which also provide detailed visual data on plant health. So in addition, we can also use acoustic sensors to detect specific insect sounds, offering an innovative or secondary non-visual modality for monitoring pest activity. So these machine learning algorithms analyze visual features such as color variation, shapes, deformations, and texture anomalies or differences to accurately identify diseased or infested plants. So common approaches include image classification, object detection, which enable automated identification of affected plants or pests from visual data. So you can use time series models to help analyze temporal or time patterns such as progression of disease outbreaks or pest infestations over time. So like previously discussed, unsupervised learning methods are also employed to discover hidden patterns in data without requiring label examples. So there are a couple of examples which I can mention at this point. I will quickly go through one example, which is tomato leaf disease detection. So there's a data set called Plant Village dataset, which contains images of healthy and diseased tomato leaves. So the goal is to classify tomato leaf images into categories like healthy, early blight, as well as late blight, as well as leaf mold conditions. So we can use convolutional neural networks, which are called CNN in short. Architectures like ResNet 50, VGG 16, Inception V3, and these kind of models are helpful to achieve the task. So the result is that accuracy of often about 90% can be attained, depending on the dataset quality as well as the augmentation that we adopt or employ. So the first application, as I described, is the disease and pest detection. So next, I'm going to talk about crop yield prediction. So basically, crop yield prediction or production estimation involves predicting the amount of crop output before harvesting. So this information is very important for intelligent decision making, helping farmers and various stakeholders, optimize planning, manage supply chains efficiently. So to make accurate predictions, machine learning models depend on a variety of data sources. These include soil properties, weather conditions, irrigation, and fertilization schedules, as well as remote sensing data captured by either satellites or drones. So several machine learning approaches, again, can be commonly used for yield prediction. Typical regression methods, for example, linear regression, random forest regression, as well as techniques such as XGBoost, they provide strong baseline models. Deep learning techniques are also helpful, as well as CNN models. They are also effective for analyzing image-based data from the field. So at the same time, to analyze time series data, we can employ long short-term memory or LSTM models, as well as gated recurrent unit models. They are also well suited for capturing these kind of temporal dynamics in the time series data. So next, I'm going to talk about another application, which is the soil health monitoring application. So soil health plays a very crucial role in determining crop productivity. As we all know, healthy soil improves water retention, nutrients cycling, as well as it supports strong root development of a plant, all essential for good crop growth. When soil quality declines, it can limit the yield as well as increase the need to apply fertilizers and other inputs to the crops. So monitoring soil health involves measuring various physical, chemical, as well as biological parameters. Physical factors include soil texture, compaction, as well as porosity, which affect how roots grow, as well as how water moves through the soil. Chemical properties, for example, pH as well as electrical conductivity, help to identify acidity as well as salinity problems that could stress the crops. So basically, machine learning enhances these soil monitoring techniques by analyzing data from sensors and lab tests. It can also predict nutrient depletion or salinity buildup before these issues become more serious. Machine learning models can also classify soil into healthy or degraded zones, helping farmers to focus on their efforts where they are mostly required. So clustering methods, that means unsupervised based methods, reveal certain patterns in soil data, while regression techniques estimate missing soil parameters based on some related variables. So these tools give farmers better insights for managing soil more effectively, promoting sustainable practices as well as improving the crop productivity. So let me move on to another application of machine learning in smart agriculture, which is the smart irrigation systems application. So in smart irrigation systems help to optimize water usage, increasing efficiency while reducing the waste. They also minimize the need for manual intervention, saving time as well as labor for the farmers. So these systems use a variety of technologies, including soil moisture sensors, weather stations, remote sensing data, as well as automated valves and controllers. So machine learning here helps plays a very vital or important role by forecasting crop water requirements based on real-time weather and soil as well as plant data. So these kind of machine learning techniques can recommend customized irrigation schedules for different fields, also crop types, ensuring that plants receive the right amount of water all throughout the growing season. Machine learning models also help to detect water stress zones by analyzing drone as well as satellite imagery, allowing targeted irrigation only to be applied where it is really required. So over time, reinforcement learning enables another form of machine learning, as I described to you all earlier. So reinforcement learning enables the system to learn optimal irrigation strategies from feedback, continually improving the water use efficiency. So let me move on to another application, which is the weed detection and management application. So as you all know, weeds play a major challenge in agriculture as they compete directly with crops for essential resources like nutrients, space, water, and sunlight. So this competition can severely affect and reduce the crop yields if not managed properly. So traditionally, farmers rely on manual weeding, which is very effective, but it is extremely labor-intensive process. On the other hand, using herbicides across entire fields as a blanket solution or approach is wasteful and can have negative environmental impacts, including soil degradation, water contamination, and harm to beneficial plants as well. So to enable precise weed detection, what we can do is we can gather detailed data through high-resolution images captured by drones, satellites, or fixed field cameras installed on the field. And these images provide a rich visual representation of the crop fields. Additionally, advanced imaging technologies such as hyperspectral and multispectral imaging capture information based on visible light, helping to distinguish weeds from crops more efficiently. So field sensors data and annotated data sets containing label images of crops as well as weeds further will help to enhance the accuracy. So let me describe a little bit about multispectral and hyperspectral imaging. So as we all know, typically color imaging is achieved in RGB, red, green, and blue. So for every pixel, there will be 3 values corresponding to green, red, and blue. Whereas in multispectral imaging, it captures images, image data at a few discrete spectral bands, typically about 3 to 10. And these bands correspond to specific wavelengths such as visible or near infrared. So we capture images or pixel values in several wavelengths, and this helps to achieve better accuracies when they are deployed when they are used in machine learning algorithms. So these kind of multispectral imaging machine learning applications are common in satellite as well as drone imagery for monitoring vegetation, water quality, as well as soil. So an advancement of multispectral imaging is something called as hyperspectral imaging. So there you capture data at hundreds, if not thousands of narrow continuous spectral bands across wide range of wavelengths as shown on the right hand side of the image. So this provides a detailed spectral signature for each pixel, and they can be efficiently exploited using machine learning solutions. So climate smart forecasting is another application. So let me describe about this application in short and quickly. So climate smart forecasting depends on advanced weather and climate models to provide accurate predictions that are crucial or critical for modern agriculture. So these forecasts include rainfall patterns, daily as well as seasonal temperature variations, as well as extreme weather events like droughts, floods, as well as hurricanes. So machine learning plays a very key role in enhancing these predictions. Time series forecasting models such as LSTM as well as ARIMA analyze historical weather data to predict future conditions with greater accuracy. So furthermore, we can also apply geospatial prediction to combine data from satellites, weather stations, as well as other sources to generate a detailed microclimatic forecast tailored to specific regions as well as farms. So the benefit of these kind of climate smart forecasting is substantial or significant since by providing early warnings as well as reliable predictions. So it helps to reduce risk associated with adverse or difficult weather conditions, improve resource use efficiency, as well as strengthens climate resilience. So these advantages extend from individual farms to a broader region scale, supporting sustainable agricultural development. So as the final application, I will quickly describe something that we do at University of Peradeniya at the moment. So it is the application of machine learning for plant nitrogen deficiency detection. So first of all, like say I can introduce you this project to all of you. So basically our target is to identify nitrogen deficiency in chili plants using vision-based machine learning techniques as well as plant electrophysiological signals. So as well as we also in future, we try to combine both these vision-based as well as plant electrophysiological signals together to predict or to obtain a model with a even higher accuracy. So basically, what are the visual symptoms of nitrogen deficiency? So typically, the leaves become yellow or yellowing of the lower leaves, while the leaves at the top of the plant are pale green. So this is a visual clue that we can exploit using machine learning. So, and then if you take the importance of why we do this nitrogen deficiency detection is that, for example, lack of sufficient nitrogen in plants can lead to stunted growth as well as reduced crop yields. So the vision-based approach is as follows. So we acquire RGB images as well as then we will focus, our initial focus is to identify color variations of the plants leaves due to this deficiency. So specifically the yellowing of the lower leaves. Then we can apply, as I mentioned, machine learning as well as image processing techniques to detect this yellowing of the leaves. On the other hand, the electrophysical signal-based approach tries to explore the possibility for early stress detection even before visual symptoms appear. So for that, what we do is we record signals and then we analyze them to identify the patterns in the signals over time due to stress using tools from signal processing and machine learning. So basically, this is the flow or the methodology of the project that we are using at the moment. So a vision-based approach, as mentioned, is to identify color variations. The plant electrophysiology-based approach is to identify patterns in the signal over time that indicates a stress while exploring the possibility of early stress detection. So the design flow of the method for vision-based approach as well as the electrophysiology-based approach is shown here. So basically, to describe it in very short, basically what is happening in this method is that first we capture the images and then we extract the plant canopy through color-based thresholding. We apply a color-based threshold to capture the plant canopy, and then we segment fully or partially the yellow leaves with the deep learning approach, and then it is used to analyze the deficient leaves to extract the color features. So then we maintain or manage a database of plant color features. Height also we measure the height variations and apply a nutrient content. So finally, this is used to identify the proper correlation between features in the data set for prediction of plant stress. Similarly, the flow for electrophysiology-based approach is also shown in this diagram. Basically, we capture the images and then using multiplexers, analog to digital converters, as well as ESP32 board using Raspberry Pi. And then we filter or we remove certain artifacts in the recorded signals for better accuracy. And then we label the signals by nitrogen levels for model training. And we classify the stress by applying some kind of machine learning approach. For example, LSTM or GRU to learn the signal patterns. So with that, I will move on to the next slide, which is on agricultural data sets and tools. So agricultural data sets include a wide variety of data types, including sensor data such as soil moisture and nutrient levels, remote sensing imagery from satellites, drones, detailed weather station recordings, and so on. So diversity and accuracy of these data sets are essential. For example, there are publicly available data sets such as plant-related data set, Radiant ML Hub, CGIAR Dataverse, as well as Open AIRE, AgriData, and so on. So these are just like say a very few number of data sets I have mentioned here, but there are many more data sets and they are very useful to achieve certain tasks. Say for example, the plant village dataset contains about 50,000 high quality images across 38 plant species with annotated plant diseases, enabling precise training and of convolution neural networks to detect early signs of fungal infections like beet rust or even late blight in potatoes. This Radiant ML Hub provides multi-sensor Earth observation data from satellites like Sentinel-2 and Landsat-8. So there are a couple of challenges with these data sets. For example, data quality often varies with some remote sensing images affected by cloud cover or low resolution, limiting their usability for fine scale analysis using machine learning. So fragmentation across multiple platforms or format complicate data integration and standardization. So because these data might be in different formats, so when you try to combine them for your task, it might be difficult. So additionally, there could be privacy concerns as well as access restrictions in certain cases. And importantly, many data sets lack localization. That means if you consider the case of Sri Lanka, these data sets are for other countries. So that poses significant challenges if you want to deploy them to come up with a solution for a local problem. So these are some of the challenges of these data sets. And also in general, I would like to discuss some challenges about machine learning for agriculture. So these challenges can be based on technological challenges, social challenges, economic challenges, and so on. Say, for example, the data in the technological front, and the data remains the major bottleneck. High quality label data sets are difficult to find. Also, for example, in the case of agricultural applications, the data is often sparse as well as noisy and under standardized. So as a result, we need to pay more attention to these limitations so that we can capture new data without these limitations. On the other hand, like say, there could be social and economic factors as well. For example, in many regions, especially in global south, digital literacy is very low. Farmers may be very skeptical. Algorithmic recommendations, specifically, if they are contradicting traditional practices. So resistance to change is widespread. And also there could be economic challenges like the costs associated with the deployment of a machine learning solution, including sensors, drone services, as well as cloud subscriptions, and so on. So there are a couple of challenges that we need to overcome to deploy machine learning solutions. So there are also case studies that have been carried all around the world for smart agriculture. Here I have mentioned a couple of them, like the ones that have been carried out in Netherlands, India, Brazil, as well as some companies that have deployed these kind of smart agricultural systems. But I'm sure there are many more that I have not included, and it will be useful for all of us to investigate about these case studies that have happened all around the world in the case of smart agriculture. So finally, I would like to conclude my talk by giving some conclusions as well as call to action. So machine learning has the potential to transform agriculture by enabling data-driven, efficient, as well as sustainable farming practices. There are many agricultural applications and use cases that will benefit from these innovative solutions offered by machine learning as well as artificial intelligence. So, however, adaptation is slow as we see, and due to many social, economic, as well as poor infrastructure, they hinder the development of these machine learning based smart agricultural applications. So, as researchers, farmers, policymakers, and industry stakeholders, all of them have a strong and growing responsibility to design as well as to implement actionable strategies to derive future machine learning adoption in agriculture. So basically, like say, what can we do or what must be done? First, we need to design and deploy low resource machine learning models. For example, lightweight, interpretable, as well as optimized for field conditions in Sri Lanka, where internet bandwidth and computing power are often limited. So second, we must empower farmers. That means not just training them to use digital tools, but also involve them in system design. Their local knowledge as well as feedback is very important for creating effective machine learning solutions. Third, investment is the key. Government and industry stakeholders must prioritize rural infrastructure, especially internet access, as well as to develop policies that support ethical as well as inclusive agri-tech integration. This includes creating data, for example, sharing frameworks, public-private partnerships, as well as incentives for innovation. So in short, transforming agriculture with machine learning is not just a technical challenge, it's a shared responsibility of researchers, farmers, developers, as well as policymakers. They must come together to shape a new future where AI or artificial intelligence serves not just to yield and efficiency, but also to improve the equity, resilience, as well as sustainability in agriculture. Thank you very much, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, sir, for delivering an informative speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly grateful to our distinguished speakers for sharing their valuable insights with us during this session. Now, it's the time to honor our invitees. I kindly invite Professor K. Bahiradan, Conference Chair, ICDA 2025, to present a memento to our chief guest, Professor S. Srisatkunaraja, Vice Chancellor of the University of Jaffna. Okay. Also, we kindly invite our speakers to accept a token of appreciation from our chief guest. For that, I kindly invite Dr. M. Kularatne, Plenary Speaker, Lincoln University, New Zealand, Dr. Y. Sasaki, Keynote Speaker, Yamakata University, Japan. Dr. Y. Sasaki, keynote speaker from Yamakata University, Japan. Also, I kindly invite Professor K. Bahirathan, Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, to receive the memento from our chief guest. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again to our speakers for enriching this conference with your expertise. Once again, a special note of gratitude goes to the sponsors whose partnership has strengthened ICDA 2025. Our platinum sponsor, Jacob Presida, University of Jaffna. Gold sponsor, CIC Agribusiness Private Limited. Brown sponsors, Avon Pharma Chem Private Limited, Hemsense International Private Limited, Chrysalis and People's Bank. Our other sponsors, Hatton National Bank, Northern Modern Irrigation and ESP Nagaratnam. We extend our sincere thanks to each of them for their valuable support and partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the conclusion of this inaugural session, now it's time to express our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made this event a success. I kindly invite Dr. S. Takshineskant, Joint Secretary of ICDA 2025, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Dear Chief Guest, respected speakers, invited guests, presenters, the deans of the faculties, heads of the departments, academics, non-academic staff, students, and my dear colleagues, good morning to you all. On behalf of Organizing Committee of the 11th International Conference on Dry Zone Agriculture, it's my great privilege and honor as the Secretary to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all those who contributed to the success of this prestigious event. First and foremost, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Professor S. Sri Satkunaraja, Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna, for his unwavering support and for honoring us with presence despite his demanding schedule. We are particularly thankful for granting us the permission to organize this prestigious conference. Sir, your continued encouragement and the support have been instrumental in making this event successful. We would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation to our esteemed plenary speaker, Dr. Manjula Kularatna, Senior Lecturer from Lincoln University, New Zealand, for graciously sharing his valuable insights and expertise on plant parasitic nematodes with us. Our sincere thanks extended to our keynote speaker, Dr. Yuka Sasaki, Associate Professor from Yamagata University, Japan, and long-term expert for the JICA project. Thank you for your insightful and timely presentation that enriched this conference immensely. A special word of thanks to our invited speaker, Dr. Himal Suravira, Senior Lecturer from the University of Peradeniya, for accepting our invitation and gracing with us with his online presence. Your virtual participation had great value and prestige to this event. And we truly appreciate the presence of Mr. Noguchi, the Chief Representative of the JICA Sri Lanka office, and Ms. Sugita, JICA Sri Lanka office, for the presence. And we truly appreciate the presence of Professor T. Mitsunaga and Dr. Y. Sasaki and Ms. Takayama and Ms. Megumi for their staff from the JICA office for their assistance for the conference. And we would like to thank all the invited guests from the University of Jaffna, University of Peradeniya, University of Vavuniya, and Rajarata University of Sri Lanka, and public administration service, guests from public administration service, agriculture and animal production related institute and private organization for accepting our invitation and gracing the occasion. Your presence here today make us proud. So we are also grateful to chairpersons, Emeritus Professor C. Sivayoganathan, Professor Toru Mitsunaga, Senior Professor T. Sivanandawal, Senior Professor Mrs. N. Gnanaval Raja, Professor A. M. J. B. Adhikari from Rajarata University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Manjula Kururatna from Lincoln University, New Zealand. Thank you for your valuable service in guiding the upcoming technical session. And also we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the evaluators of the technical sessions, Mrs. K. Nishanthan, Mr. N. Selvanathan, Dr. R. Kanagaratnam, Professor Mrs. T.W. Shantakumar, Dr. Mrs. S. Sivakanthan, Dr. S. Sukita, Dr. S. Sarjan, Mr. A. Tayabaran, Professor G. Tirukumaran, Professor P. Seville, Dr. B. Kethisan, and Dr. Yuka Sasaki. We are truly appreciative for your valuable support. We truly appreciate and thank the track coordinator for the scientific session. And we are also grateful to the members of the upcoming valediction discussion panel, Emeritus Professor C. Sivayoganathan, Professor T. Mitsunaga, Professor T. Sivanandawal, and Professor Mrs. S. Sivachandran for generously sharing their insight with upcoming session. A very special thanks to all the reviewers who dedicated their time to critically evaluate the abstract and extend an abstract, helping to enhance the quality of the academic content presented in this conference, and special appreciations to Dr. Mrs. Sivakanthan for the assistance in proofreading the proceeding. We truly appreciate all the presenters, authors, and the participants from various institutions and regions for contribution and active engagement made this conference a meaningful and successful one. And we extend our most profound appreciation for our sponsors, JICA Presida, CIC Agribusiness, Avon Pharma Chem Private Limited, Emerson International Private Limited, Chrysalis, People's Bank, Hatton National Bank, and Northern Modern Irrigation, and ESP Nagaratnam for your generous financial contribution. Your support has been instrumental in making ICDA 2025 a reality, and we hope for the continued partnership in our future event. Our heartfelt thankful goes to Professor K. Bakirathan, Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, as well as the Head of the Department, Assistant Registrar, Academic and Non-Academic Staff, Farm Manager and team, and temporary staff, students of the Faculty of Agriculture for their dedicated effort and unwavering support throughout the organization of the event. A special thanks must be given to Professor Mrs. S. Sivachandran and the staff and student of the Department of Agronomy for beautifully decorating the conference hall, creating such inviting and eye-catching atmosphere. A special thanks must be given to the team from Sir Ponnambalam Ramanathan, Faculty of Performing and Visual Arts, for the attention-grabbing performance in their welcome dance. And we are also grateful to the Registrar, Bursar, and the Senior Assistant Registrar and other administrative staff from the University of Jaffna, Deputy Registrar, administrative staff, and work engineer of the Kilinochchi premises for their invaluable support for the conference. A special note of thanks goes to Mr. K. Venugopan and his team for their support for the current ICDA committee. Without their support, the hybrid format of this conference would not have been possible. Their hard work and the commitment have been instrumental in ensuring the smooth execution in both in-person and virtual component of the event. And our sincere gratitude to Dr. S. Sivashankar and Dr. Mrs. A. Sayantan for their outstanding performance as the host of the conference. To the media personnel, thank you for your coverage and for helping bring ICDA 2025 into the public spotlight. And I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the VC media team for their excellent work and covering the live events. My sincere gratitude to the previous ICDA organizing committees for their assisting us in the needed situation and providing guidance at the required time. And I would also like to acknowledge the effort from organizing committee and the faculty staff who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure everything went smoothly. Your dedication and hard work are greatly appreciated. And I would like to take this moment to extend my best wishes to all the presenters who are going to present today. Finally, a big thank you to everyone who joined us today, both person and virtually. Your support and presence have been made this event memorable. I sincerely apologize if I unintentionally missed to acknowledge anyone. Once again, thank you all for being the part of the session, and have an excellent technical session here. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your words of gratitude. With that, we conclude the inaugural session of the 11th International Conference on Dry Zone Agriculture 2025. We will now proceed with a group photo session. For that, I kindly invite the chief guest, distinguished delegates, deans, presenters, and other all participants to come forward and take your positions to take the group photo. Thank you.